Guys, we are on a quest to beat every English PS1 game that was ever made. That's right, every last one of them. From the fan favorites like Crash Bandicoot and Resident Evil, to the Disney releases like Hercules and Monsters Inc. Yes, we're even going to play that too. This journey will be hard and long. Oh, wait, I didn't mean it like that. The path to completion will be firm and massive. I hope you can join us on this epic journey as we monitor stress levels and lock in for an intense ride to a PS1 completionist. Game number 5 will be Dexter's Laboratory, Mandark's Lab. Dexter's Laboratory, Mandark's Lab was released on March 2nd, the year 2002, and the PS1 was the only home for this Cartoon Network classic. It was developed by a company called Red Lemon Studios that resided in Scotland. It was also published by a company named BAM Entertainment that was located in San Jose, California. It was responsible for publishing a number of Cartoon Network games in the early 2000s. Wait. Before we start, can we just... it gets me every time. Talk about my childhood. Dexter's Lab was one of the best shows in the prime Cartoon Network days, along with shows like Courage the Cowardly Dog and Ed, Edd n Eddy. Something that has always been glued in my head though is this lovely theme song. It's just so nostalgic. Now in this game, Dexter's arch nemesis and evil wannabe scientist Mandark has infiltrated Dexter's lab in an attempt to destroy it, and it's our job to make sure that does not happen. We get to the start screen and we are greeted with the characters Dee Dee, Mandark, and Dexter. Something interesting here was every time you would move between modes, Dexter's eyes would follow the path, which I thought was pretty cool. Loading up the game, an intro video is played showing just how Mandark made his way into Dexter's lab. Under a stormy night sky while Dexter is sound asleep, Mandark enters through the roof and takes control of the Quadruplex T3000, and doing so gives him complete control. Jeez, that was quick. You would think Dexter would have more security. Anyways, it cuts to Dexter the next morning, and when he tries to enter his lab, the computer doesn't recognize his voice. Then he has shown Mandark is behind this whole operation. Dee Dee shows up and he gives her the story to what has happened. Then we finally spawn into Dexter's bedroom. Our goal now is to find Dexter's voice changer gadget that would be able to mimic the sound of Mandark's voice so that we can gain entry into the lab. Dexter thinks it's possible that Dee Dee has stolen his gadget, and we head down to the living room to meet her. Before making it to the living room though, I noticed that if you hit the right trigger, the game allows you to go into thermal or x-ray mode so that you can locate these hidden blueprint squares located on each level. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a second to figure this out though. We make it to Dee Dee and Dexter asks her if she has seen the microphone, and she questions if it's the one that makes his voice sound different and funny. Dexter proceeds to get angry because Dee Dee is always touching his stuff. She then randomly asks Dexter if he wants to dance, and Dexter says he doesn't have any time for her stupid dancing. But she says she bets she could guess the password, and would only do so if Dexter could beat her in a dance-off. Dexter better get his dancing shoes on because that's what we'd be doing next. When the music starts, you have to hit a certain button when it lands in the middle of the circle at the center of your screen. If you hit the button as soon as it lands perfectly in the middle, then you get 100 points per button. Otherwise, you would get 50 or 25 points depending on how late or early you pressed it. You also had to reach a threshold of points to qualify for the next stage of the level, and there were 5 stages. We busted all the moves that Dexter had and defeated Dee Dee with a whopping score of 15,715 points. Next, we had to make our way to Dee Dee's bedroom where our next challenge would take place. It was time to exterminate some cooties. A thing that was common in Dexter's laboratory back in the day was all the girls had cooties, at least that's what Dexter would always say. Cooties began to fly out from under the bed, behind the dresser, out of the toy box, and everywhere. We had this cootie spray that we had to drench the cooties with, making them fall to the floor. Eventually though, if you couldn't spray them in time, then they would do a little damage to you. But there were also levels of the cooties, blue, purple, and gold ones, with the colors with the gold ones being the fastest ones to attack you. In between the stages, you had to smash the circle and X buttons to shake up the can to produce more cootie exterminating juice. We defeat the cooties with ease and finally get our hands on the Mimic voice changer. Finally, having our hands on the tool, we go to Dexter's lab entrance and pretend to be Mandark so we can gain entrance to the lab. A scene occurs showing Dexter walking through his 20 doors, and it shows Mandark sitting in front of his computer. Dang, Dexter has a whole bunch of steel doors but can't protect his PC from being hacked? Anyways, Mandark announces his ill will by saying the laboratory is his and there is nothing little old Dexter can do about it. Dexter freaks out and tries to override the system but fails, and it's only a matter of time before the laboratory experiences the ultimate destruction. In the lab, sounds of Mandark's voice mocking Dexter, saying it's too easy, and his evil laugh filled the air as we search for the next objective. We found our way to the atomic shrinker, where we will be shrunk down, and we had to fight these rogue atoms that are helping Mandark. Just like the cooties minigame, this was sort of the same. You had to go through multiple stages collecting these atoms before the time expires while also reaching a targeted amount of points. After stage 1, it would get progressively more harder because you had to shoot viruses that had atoms inside of them. Once in the final 2 stages, you had to do the smash attack, and doing that stun locked the virus, allowing for easy shots. We defeated all viruses and saved the atoms with a big score of 16,050 points. Again, traveling amongst the lab, we came to Dexter's virtual reality station where we would have to clean out yet another bug that was helping all the viruses in Dexter's computer. It took me a second to figure this one out, but the goal was to chase and smack the bug with an electric fly swatter looking weapon to squash him. I don't think this is the type of bug that will call for an electric fly swatter, but hey, Dexter is the scientist in this mess after all. The path was slippery at some parts while also having electricity traps that try to electrocute you. I also got flattened like a pancake by these metal smashers. Ouch. But eventually the bug got squashed and got us closer to save the lab. We now went back to the center of the lab and descended even deeper on the elevator, and all Dexter had his mind on was to finally get his hands on the evil Mandark. Another scene develops and Dexter finally has his eyes on him. Mandark spots him and shoots a fireball at him, but next he had something else up his sleeve. Mandark shoots him with an age-changing gun, turning Dexter into an old man with a cane. There was no way he would be able to stop Mandark now. Once the cutscene ends, Dee Dee is heard down here saying, "Hiya, Grandpa," which is kind of funny to me. We come across these battery pods which had 0 battery, and it was our job to charge them. The first pod sends us to memories that we used to have back in the day. I don't see how this makes any sense with charging batteries, but oh well. We had to race this other driver around a track. This was something straight out of Mario Kart. We had 5 laps we had to complete while also getting special items through these question marks. They had items like oil spills, which made the driver spin out, and lightning strikes that made the driver get shrunk in size. After dominating the first race, I would lap the competitor in each of the last 2 races while avoiding lava and getting some gnarly air when hitting a few ramp jumps. With 1 battery charged, only 1 more remained. Another room over, we would have to charge another battery through a memory, and this memory would be of Dexter playing dodgeball back in PE class. We would have to throw dodgeballs at people hiding behind obstacles, and also if you hit someone running across the screen, then you would get a big 500 points. Again, you had to hit enough people to reach the threshold for points, and there were also 3 stages in which we had to complete: the courtyard, the gym, and the playground. I thought in dodgeball if anybody got hit they were out. I was hit a few times and was never out. Oh well, I don't make the rules. My aim during this was impeccable because I used to be the 2005-2006 dodgeball champion of my school, and with that being said, we got enough points and moved on to the next task with ease. We take another platform up to the next level where another cutscene occurs where we change our age back to normal and find Mandark. He now has a self-destruct bomb, and when that clock strikes 0, the laboratory will become a pile of rubble. Dee Dee appears again and Mandark begins to drool over her because he has an enormous crush. Mandark and Dexter begin calling each other every name in the book. Dee Dee butts in and says the only way to settle this was to go against each other dork to dork. And if Dexter wins, he gets the laboratory, and if Mandark wins, he gets to keep the lab and also would receive a kiss from Dee Dee. Ew. We arrive at the first challenge and we would have to beat Mandark in a chemical making contest. This was extremely similar to the dancing contest, and we had to hit the buttons it showed when they reached the center of the circle, and also had to reach past the targeted amount of points. I really don't think they should be drinking that stuff. Of course, with Dexter being the way better scientist, we destroyed Mandark after the 5th stage, sending him into mass hysteria and copium. Mandark says that he would never have thought that he would be beaten, but let's be real, he is a terrible scientist. Now it's time to go to the final minigame. We had to play a Mandark in a game of hockey, except it was no ordinary game. We were in these jet engine powered hover carts that gave you a boost when hitting the left trigger. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mandark really gave me a run for my money because he jumped on me 1-0 early. Scattered on the rink were these ice blocks and bombs, kind of like in the racetrack level. If you get the question mark, it gives you a special power like shooting snowballs to attack Mandark and to push the puck harder. If you hit the bombs though, it would make you spin out, causing you to slow down. We were tied 4-4 when I finally put Mandark away for the victory. Back in the lab, we went to Mandark so he could disable the bomb, but he asks us if we really thought he would honor his half of the bet, and the countdown still began to fall. When it finally reached 0, Dexter clenched waiting for an explosion, but nothing happened. Dexter then proceeds to make fun of Mandark, saying he can't even program a bomb to explode. Mandark gets angered and says one day, just one day, he will eventually destroy this laboratory and flies away. With the lab saved, a final cutscene rolls showing the excitement from Dexter and the laboratory going back to its everyday activities. Dee Dee makes sure that breaking the lab is still on the table though, and that's the end for Dexter's Laboratory, Mandark's Laboratory. Now let's get to the ratings. Enjoyment. Now this game was somewhat enjoyable, and a lot of this is fueled strictly from the nostalgic feeling of reliving scenes that were somewhat dominant in the prime Cartoon Network era. The plot was as simple could get, and the minigames were average at best and extremely repetitive. I'll give enjoyment a C-. Map design. The map design was pretty basic. We did go from level to level in the minigames, but in the beginning we were only allowed to search 2 rooms in the whole house, being Dexter's bedroom and the living room. The lab was pretty spacious and decent sized though, so I'll give map design a C-. Game mechanics. The input mechanics for this game were super slow, especially the walking speed. There was no core PvP mechanics, and the mechanics varied from minigame to minigame. The camera was okay, and there was no jumping, crouching, or anything like that. I'll give the mechanics a C-. Overall, this game gets a C- grade and a 71 out of 100 score on the game meter. With the lack of mechanics and small storyline, and really overall just the small size the game was being the blunt of the cons. Well, that's all for this one. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay classy with the classics.